Today, I will share with you a simple recipe to make pure sesame oil at home without any additives. Sesame oil has a pure flavor, a rich and strong aroma, is very good for health, and the cost is very low while the oil extraction yield is high. Let's take a look at how to make it. I prepared 2 pounds of white sesame seeds. First, put the sesame seeds into a large bowl to wash them clean. Using freshly harvested sesame seeds will produce more oil. If you want more oil and easier extraction, choose white sesame seeds. If you want a richer aroma and higher nutritional value, choose black sesame seeds. You can also mix 70% white sesame seeds and 30% black sesame seeds to increase the oil yield while still keeping the distinctive aroma of black sesame. If you have time, soaking the sesame seeds in water for 6 to 8 hours will help soften the seeds, make them easier to grind, and release more oil. We often consume sesame oil because it is very beneficial for the body. Sesame seeds pressed into oil not only have a rich aroma that stimulates the appetite, but also help the body absorb nutrients better. Sesame oil is rich in vitamin E and natural antioxidants, which help protect cells and support slowing down the body's aging process. Lecithin in sesame oil is also a beneficial nutrient that helps support brain function, assists in fat metabolism, and contributes to cardiovascular health. Moreover, homemade sesame oil contains no additives, so it is very reassuring to consume. Change the water once more to rinse the sesame seeds thoroughly. After washing, remove the sesame seeds and let them drain well. Then put them into a pan. The pan must be cleaned well, so the sesame oil will not pick up any unwanted odors. If you have a large amount of sesame seeds, you can roast them in several batches so they cook evenly without burning. When you first put the sesame seeds into the pan, there is still a lot of water on the surface, so turn the heat to high and stir continuously. As the moisture gradually evaporates, the sesame seeds will become dry and loose and will no longer stick to the spatula. At this point, reduce the heat to medium because sesame seeds burn easily once they are dry. Continue stirring evenly. Where are you watching from? Please leave a comment to let me know. When you start to hear light crackling sounds in the pan, and the sesame seeds turn slightly yellow and become round and plump, reduce the heat to low and continue roasting. At this level of doneness, the sesame seeds are suitable for grinding into sesame paste, but if you want to make sesame oil, you need to keep roasting them further. Since the pan is still very hot, you must stir quickly and never let the sesame seeds burn, otherwise the whole batch will be ruined. When the sesame seeds release a strong aroma and turn golden brown, they are ready. Do not over-roast them, or the sesame oil will taste burnt. Turn off the heat and use the remaining heat of the pan to stir for a while, then let them cool naturally in the pan. Sesame seeds roasted properly for making sesame oil will break easily when gently pressed by hand, smell very fragrant, and have a golden brown color. Now let them cool completely. After that, put the sesame seeds into a blender. Grind them in small batches. Do not add too many at once because it will be difficult to blend. Close the lid and grind them finely. Wow, it smells so good. The finer the sesame seeds are ground, the stronger the aroma becomes. Since sesame seeds already contain oil, the more you grind them, the thicker the mixture becomes, and the harder it is to blend. Therefore, you need to stop occasionally and stir with chopsticks a few times so the blender can run smoothly. Blend several times until the sesame becomes very smooth and gradually turns into ground sesame paste, tahini. After grinding, pour it into a large bowl or a large pan for the next step. This is pure ground sesame paste, as long as the sesame seeds were not burnt during roasting. Next, start extracting the oil using the water method. The ratio of sesame to boiling water is 1 to 0.85. Add the boiling water to the blender and blend to clean the remaining sesame stuck inside the machine. Then pour it into the sesame pan. Pour gradually while stirring continuously because the ground sesame will thicken when it meets hot water. Divide the boiling water into 3 to 4 portions. It's nice to know that we see each other all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. It's great to see your support. Once the mixture reaches this thick consistency, it's ready. You must stir constantly. The oil inside will gradually rise to the top. Looking at the sides of the pan, you will see the oil beginning to float. You can shake the pan to make the oil rise faster. At this point, you can clearly see the layer of oil on the surface. This is the traditional water-based oil extraction method. Then, let it sit for 1 to 2 hours, and the oil will gradually rise to the top. Alternatively, you can gently tap the surface with a spoon to help the oil rise faster. After about an hour of settling and oil rising, you can use a spoon to scoop out the oil. This is pure sesame oil, with a strong and very appealing aroma. Scoop while gently tapping to make the oil rise faster. Freshly extracted sesame oil will be slightly cloudy, but after a few days of settling, it will become clearer. Remember to strain it through a fine sieve to remove residues. This way, the oil will settle less. Finally, seal it tightly, and you can scoop out and use it conveniently whenever needed. 2 pounds of sesame seeds yield almost a bowl of sesame oil, with plenty of ground sesame left. Very economical. Buying from stores, it's very hard to get pure sesame oil, and the price is high. Even a small bottle can cost $7 to $10, and it often contains additives. The flavor is not as good as homemade. This is the traditional water-based oil extraction method. In the past, people didn't have blenders and used stone mortars to grind sesame. Homemade sesame oil has a strong aroma. In summer, it can be used to mix with cold noodles, vegetables, for dipping hot pot, or cooking soups, all very tasty. The remaining ground sesame contains fiber and undissolved lignin compounds, giving a slightly bitter taste, but it does not affect the flavor of the sesame oil. If roasted too long, the leftover residue can also be slightly burnt, tasting more bitter. In the past, people often fed this sesame residue to poultry or livestock. If you want to use the residue in flour-based dishes, cakes, or as a topping, use a moderate amount. If it's too bitter, mix it with sweet ingredients to balance the taste. If left for another 3 to 5 days, more oil will rise and can be scooped again. If you don't want to wait, you can use the ground sesame directly. Nothing goes to waste. Ground sesame is used as a seasoning to enhance aroma and richness in many dishes. Store-bought ground sesame is often slightly bitter because it contains a lot of peanuts and flavoring agents, so it's not as good. Homemade ground sesame has no additives and a stronger flavor. Depending on taste, you can mix in crushed peanuts or oyster sauce and eat it with rice, noodles, bread. Has everyone learned how to make sesame oil and ground sesame? A jar of sesame oil and ground sesame like this is enough for my family for several months. Very cheap. And the method is simple, truly economical. If you like homemade sesame oil, give it a try. The video ends here. If you have any comments, please leave a comment below. If you find the video interesting, please give me a like. Don't forget to share it with your relatives and friends. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Goodbye. See you in the next video.